So there's this idea that I've been introduced to through Michael A. Singer, through the surrender experiment, of living in the present moment and how much time we spend in the past and how much time we spend in the future. And you don't really realize this, or I didn't really realize this until I started to become more aware of the fact that it was so incredibly true. There's this quote that I came across not too long ago about if you're depressed, it's because you're living in the past. If you're anxious, it's because you're living in the future. And if you're at peace, you're in the present. And now that I have learned to move behind my ego, or rather to be aware that it is there, that it exists, and that I am not it, I've become more conscious of when I'm spending too much time in the past or when I'm spending too much time in the future. I'm not unrealistic in my goals or my expectations of myself. I don't expect to always be present. I don't expect to never visit the past or never visit the future. But rather that I am now aware of when I'm spending all this time in the past or when I'm spending all this time in the future. So the thought really is that the past and the future don't exist. There's nothing that you can do there that's going to change the present moment. And we're always trying to get to somewhere else. The idea that happiness is in the next place. It's called destination addiction. I came across, I can't remember who spoke about this, but I will put it in the description box below. But the idea of destination addiction is that in the next job, I will be happier. In the next relationship, I will be happier. When my partner finally understands me, I will be happier. In the next town, I will be happier. Whatever it is, the idea of happiness being somewhere else basically means that it will never be where you are. It will never be where you are if you're always looking to the future to find it there. So bringing yourself into the present moment as often as you can is where peace is. You're not living in what's already happened that you have absolutely no control over changing. The more aware I become of this, the more I'm able to release it. So before, I might have been in a scenario where I would say something and it would play on my mind, something that maybe I shouldn't have said, or later on I feel I shouldn't have said, and it would play on my mind for the next couple weeks or days or however long, months, in one case, years. I dreamt about it for years. And now I have that moment, and I may feel embarrassed in that moment, but I very quickly realize that there's nothing that can be done now about it. I'm not going to send a message to everyone that was involved that heard me, that heard me say this idiotic thing that really they are probably not even thinking about anyway. But yeah, I am unable to get myself out of my thoughts because I cannot imagine, oh my gosh, how embarrassing that situation was. I said this, and now people must think differently of me. I need to send a message correcting what it is that I actually meant. And boy, do we drive ourselves nuts. Oh my gosh. And just being able to kind of bring myself into the present moment has helped me release those moments, because they used to happen so often. And feeling embarrassed even for the people around me that, you know, would be in situations where it's like, oh, you really don't know what you're talking about. You are sounding so confident in what you think you know. I'm like, man, release that shit. Release it. What good is it going to do to you to be so judgmental of anybody else and to live in this idea that they are judging you? To release it. and it's just become a lot easier now. I catch myself and I'm like, oh, there I go, living in the past. What can be done about it? Absolutely nothing. They're probably not thinking about it anyway. It doesn't matter even if they are thinking about it. Let it go. Bring yourself back into the present moment. And yeah, it's just a very helpful little technique to kind of use in my everyday life. Yeah, just trying to be more present, basically. Come away from the future. Come away from the past. And that's not to say that you can never visit it, but just not to give it the power that it has over us. There's so much power that we give to the past and to the future. And this idea that we must control what's to come, and we must control the present moment. That control is ultimately where our weakness lies. Because the minute we lose that control, we lose our peace, we lose our sense of self. Yeah, so just letting go of what we think the future should look like, or what we think we should change because of what's happened in the past. And just, in this very moment, there was a very interesting exercise I came across in The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, a book that he'd written. And he tells you to say to yourself, I wonder what my next thought's going to be. And I was sitting outside a CU, a convenience store in my area, reading this book, waiting for something else. I had some time on my hands. And there was this idea, and I stopped reading for a moment and I gave it a try. I wonder what my next thought would be. And I sat and waited. Nothing. Nothing for a good while. And I guess the idea of that exercise is to bring you into the present moment, to show you what it feels like to be present. If you don't know, or if you can't kind of relate, or you can't, to bring you into the present moment. And what a powerful little exercise. It's often in those very simple things that you find so much freedom, or so much knowledge about yourself and about reality. So give it a go. See if it means anything, or if it resonates with you, or if it even is just a little bit interesting to kind of experiment with. No thought for a while. That's what it means to be present, to be absolutely engrossed in whatever it is you're doing. If you're sitting on a bench in the park, notice the colors around you, notice the trees, notice the people walking around. Just be present. If you're having a conversation with somebody, just pay attention to everything. Be present in the conversation. Pay attention to what they're saying, and stop waiting for your turn to speak, If you're on the bus, on your way to work, wherever you are, just be completely present in that moment. Start practicing it. Start noticing your breath. Notice the people around you. Notice your environment. Notice the colors. Notice the shapes. That helps me to come more into the present moment, to be more present, particularly when I find myself having expectations of a certain situation, or being disturbed, or slipping into the past and being uncomfortable with whatever happened in the past. Just bringing myself to the present moment. Notice the bench. Notice the lamppost, the trees, the colors on the trees, the lake. Is that a lake or is that a road? It's a road. There's a lake around here somewhere. Just the buildings. Notice everything around you. Anyway, that was a random thought that I was having today that I thought I would share with you. And maybe it starts bringing your awareness into the present moment and starts taking you out of the past and the future and just becoming more attentive to when you become uncomfortable with your thoughts or become uncomfortable with whatever's happening in your life. It's because you're thinking about the present, the future or the past, and you're moving. In this moment, there is no problem. In this moment, there is no issue. The issue lies somewhere else, and that place doesn't even exist. So why stress yourself over it? Why have it dictate so much of your life, so much of your peace and your joy and your happiness? Random thoughts. Have a good one. See you on the next one.